I stood in my childhood bedroom, staring at the wedding invitation that wasn't mine. It had fallen out of my mother's purse when she'd visited last week. Everyone's name was printed in gold calligraphy. My aunts, my uncles, distant cousins I'd met twice. Even my high school boyfriend from 10 years ago who my family still kept in touch with. Everyone except me. If you're enjoying this so far, don't forget to like the video and watch till the end. I'd love to hear your thoughts. My hands shook as I held that thick cardstock paper. The wedding was in 2 weeks. My cousin Sarah's wedding. We'd grown up together, shared a room during family vacations, braided each other's hair. And I wasn't invited to her wedding. I called my mom that night. My voice was steady, calm. Too calm. "Mom, I found the invitation." Silence. Then a sigh. The kind of sigh that said she was annoyed I'd discovered her secret. "Sweetheart, we need to talk about that." "So it's true. I'm not invited." Sarah thought it would be better this way. Sarah thought? Or you thought? Another pause. Longer this time. I could hear my father's voice in the background, muffled, urgent. My mother covered the phone, but I caught fragments. "Just tell her. She needs to know. Your father and I support Sarah's decision," my mom finally said. "You'd just ruin her day." The words hit me like a slap. Ruin her day. As if my mere presence was toxic. As if I was some kind of catastrophe waiting to happen. What does that even mean? You know exactly what it means. After everything that happened with Marcus. After you embarrassed us at Thanksgiving. After you quit your job and moved into that tiny apartment. Sarah doesn't want any drama on her special day. Marcus. My ex-fiancé who'd cheated on me with his coworker. That was 2 years ago. The Thanksgiving incident she mentioned was when I'd politely declined to sit at the kids' table at 28 years old and had the audacity to voice my opinion about politics. Apparently, having a backbone was embarrassing. So, because my life didn't turn out perfect, I'm not allowed at family events anymore? Don't be dramatic. This is Sarah's choice. We're respecting it. Did anyone fight for me? Did you tell her this was wrong? The silence told me everything. Your brother will be the best man, she continued, as if that somehow made it better. He's doing so well. Just bought that beautiful house. Sarah looks up to him. Of course. Golden child Jake. Everything he touched turned to gold. Everything I touched apparently turned to shame. I hung up without saying goodbye. My apartment suddenly felt smaller, the walls closing in. I looked around at my life. The second-hand furniture. The water stain on the ceiling my landlord kept promising to fix. The business degree gathering dust because I'd chosen to become a photographer instead. I'd chosen wrong. At least, that's what my family thought. The next 2 weeks were torture. I watched social media light up with wedding preparations, bridal shower photos, bachelorette party videos. My brother's face appeared in every single one, right beside Sarah, playing the protective cousin, the successful role model. Not one person reached out to me. Not one family member questioned my absence. On the wedding day, I turned off my phone and drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just drove until the city disappeared behind me and open fields stretched in every direction. I parked by a lake and cried. Not gentle tears. Ugly, choking sobs that came from somewhere deep and primal. I grieved the family I thought I had. The belonging I thought was unconditional. I was wrong. 3 days after the wedding, my brother called. I almost didn't answer. "Hey sis. Haven't heard from you in a while." His voice was cheerful. Oblivious. Of course he was. Why would he think about the sister who wasn't important enough to invite? "I've been busy." Right. Well, the wedding was incredible. Sarah looked amazing. You would have loved it. Would have loved it. As if I'd simply missed it by accident. I wasn't invited, Jake. A beat of silence. Oh. Yeah. Mom mentioned something about that. Honestly, it was probably for the best. You know how you can be. How I can be? What does that mean? Come on. You're always so intense about everything. Always making things about you. Sarah didn't want any tension. My grip tightened on the phone. I haven't spoken to Sarah in 6 months. There is no tension. Exactly. You've been distant. Pulling away from the family. What did you expect? I expected to be included. I expected my brother to stand up for me. I expected my absence to be questioned, not justified. Forget it. Don't be like that. Look, Mom and Dad want to have dinner next week. You should come. We can all catch up. Catch up. As if they hadn't just excluded me from a major family event. As if I should be grateful for the scraps of their attention. I'll think about it. I didn't go to that dinner. Or the next one. Or the one after that. I stopped answering calls. Stopped checking the family group chat. Stopped pretending everything was okay. My mother left voicemails. At first, they were accusatory. You're being childish. You're punishing us for nothing. Then they became worried. Please call me back. We need to talk about this. But I was done talking. Done explaining why it hurt to be erased. Done begging for basic respect. I focused on my photography. I poured every ounce of pain into my work. Landscapes that captured loneliness. Portraits that revealed hidden sadness. My art became rawer, more honest. And people noticed. 6 months after the wedding, I booked my first major client. A local magazine wanted a photo series on abandoned places. I spent weeks exploring forgotten buildings, capturing decay and beauty coexisting. The series went viral. Suddenly, I had galleries interested. Corporate clients calling. My tiny apartment was filled with equipment and prints. I was building something. Finally, my family reached out sporadically. Birthday texts. Holiday cards. Surface-level attempts at connection. I responded politely but distantly. I was done chasing their approval. A year passed. Then another. I saved every penny. I worked 70-hour weeks. I slept 4 hours a night. I was possessed by a singular goal: prove them wrong. Not for them. For me. I found a property 2 hours outside the city. 5 acres of overgrown land with a rundown cabin. It was perfect. I could see what it could become. A photography studio. A gallery space. A home that was entirely mine. I emptied my savings. Took out a loan. Started renovations myself. I watched YouTube videos on plumbing and electrical work. I got permits and learned to tile and paint and build. It was brutal. Exhausting. The most alive I'd ever felt. My mother called occasionally. The conversations were always the same. When are you coming home for a visit? I'm busy with work, Mom. You're always busy. Jake comes by every week. Of course he did. Perfect Jake with his perfect life. That's great. He and Michelle are expecting their first baby. You're going to be an aunt. I should have felt something. Joy. Excitement. But all I felt was numb. These people were strangers now. Congratulations to them. You could sound more excited. I am excited, Mom. I have to go. Contractor's here. I lied. There was no contractor. Just me alone, sanding down wooden beams in what would eventually become my gallery. 2 years after the wedding, my property was transformed. The cabin was now a modern studio with floor-to-ceiling windows. I'd built a separate gallery space using reclaimed materials. The land was landscaped with native plants and winding stone paths. It was featured in a design magazine as an architectural photographer's dream retreat. I was proud. More than proud. I was successful in a way that had nothing to do with my family's definition of success. I posted one photo of the property on social media. Just one. A sunset shot of the studio with golden light streaming through the windows. The caption was simple, built from the ground up. Within an hour, I had hundreds of likes. Comments from colleagues and clients praising the space. And then, buried in the notifications, a message from my cousin Sarah. This is gorgeous. I had no idea you were doing so well. We should catch up soon. I stared at those words. We should catch up soon. As if she hadn't excluded me from her wedding. As if 2 years of silence was normal. I didn't respond. But someone else noticed that post. Someone who recognized the location. My brother drove past my property 3 days later. I wasn't home. I was in the city meeting with a potential investor for expanding the gallery. But my security cameras caught everything. Jake's expensive SUV slowed at the entrance to my property. He stopped. Got out. Stood there staring at the studio, the gallery, the carefully cultivated land. His face went through a series of emotions. Confusion. Disbelief. Something that looked like anger. He took photos. Video. Walked partway up the driveway before my security system's speaker activated. This is private property. Please leave. He jumped. Looked around for cameras. Found one mounted on the gate. Waved awkwardly. Then got back in his car and left. 20 minutes later, my phone exploded. First, my father called. I didn't answer. Then my mother. Ignored. Then Jake. 3 times in a row. Then my father again. Finally, a text from my mother. We need to talk. This is serious. Call us immediately. I was in the middle of a presentation. I silenced my phone and continued. The investor loved my work. Loved the studio. Wanted to partner on a major exhibition. We shook hands. Signed preliminary paperwork. I walked out of that meeting with my future secured. Only then did I check my phone. 17 missed calls. 32 text messages. I drove home slowly, deliberately. Let them wait. Let them wonder. When I finally pulled into my driveway, the sun was setting. The studio glowed exactly the way I'd designed it to. I sat in my car for a moment, just looking at what I'd built. Then I called my father. He answered on the first ring. Where the hell did you get the money for that property? No hello. No how are you. Just immediate accusation. I earned it. Bullshit. That place is worth at least $500,000. You're a photographer. There's no way you saved that much. His voice was sharp. Angry. Confused. I worked for it, Dad. For 2 years. 70-hour weeks. Every single penny went into this. Jake said you have a studio. A gallery. Did you take out loans? Are you drowning in debt? Is that what this is? I almost laughed. He was searching for a way to make this a failure. A mistake. Proof that I was still the disappointment. I have one loan. Very manageable. The rest I paid in cash. Silence. Long heavy. That's not possible. It is possible. I did it. Your mother and I gave Jake $230,000 for his house. He needed help. We were happy to provide it. You never asked for help. There it was. The truth he hadn't meant to say out loud. $230,000. They'd given Jake $230,000. I'd gotten nothing. Not because they didn't have it. Because I'd never asked. Because I was supposed to struggle. You gave Jake $230,000. He's starting a family. He needed a proper home. And I didn't deserve the same help? You made it clear you didn't want our help. You stopped coming around. Stopped answering calls. What were we supposed to think? I stopped coming around because I wasn't invited to Sarah's wedding. Because Mom told me I'd ruin her day. That was different. That was Sarah's choice. And you all supported it. You all agreed I was the problem. My father's voice hardened. You are the problem. You've always been difficult. Always questioning everything. Never satisfied. Never grateful. Jake appreciates what we've done for him. You just throw everything back in our faces. Difficult. Ungrateful. The same words I'd heard my entire life. I built this on my own. Without your help. Without your money. And I'm proud of that. You're being selfish. Your mother is worried sick. Jake drove past your place and called me screaming. He thinks you're into something illegal. Drug money. Money laundering. He wants to report you. I laughed. Actually laughed. The absurdity was too much. Report me for what? Working hard? Being successful? For lying? For pretending you're doing well when you're probably about to lose everything? I'm not losing anything. This is real, Dad. I'm actually successful. I know that's hard for you to believe, but it's true. Don't talk to me like that. I'm still your father. Then act like it. Be proud of me. For once, just be proud. The line went quiet. I could hear him breathing. Thinking. Calculating. Your mother wants you to come for dinner. This weekend. We need to discuss this as a family. There's nothing to discuss. There's plenty to discuss. You've been distant for 2 years. You owe us an explanation. I owed them. Even now. Even after everything. I owed them. I'll think about it. I hung up before he could respond. My hands were shaking. Adrenaline and anger and something else. Relief, maybe. I'd finally said it out loud. Finally stopped pretending their rejection hadn't destroyed me. I walked into my studio, turned on the lights, looked at the space I'd created. Every corner of this place was mine, built with my hands, my vision, my refusal to give up. I didn't need their approval. But God, it would have been nice to have it. My phone buzzed. A text from Jake. Dad told me about your conversation. You need to be honest with us. How did you really afford that place? Are you in trouble? I'm trying to help you. Trying to help me. The same brother who'd never questioned my absence from the wedding. Who'd told me I was too intense. Who'd received $250,000 from our parents and never once thought to ask if I needed help too. I typed and deleted 3 different responses. Finally settled on, I'm not in trouble. I'm fine. Better than fine. His response was immediate. Prove it. Show us your finances. If you're really doing this legitimately, you shouldn't have anything to hide. Show them my finances. As if I owed them proof. As if my success was so unbelievable it must be fraudulent. I didn't respond. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that number. $230,000. Jake had been given more than I'd made in 5 years of working myself to exhaustion. He'd been handed a future. I'd had to claw mine out of nothing. And they wondered why I'd pulled away. The next morning, my mother called. Please come to dinner this weekend. Jake and Michelle will be there. We can clear all this up. There's nothing to clear up, Mom. There is. You've been shutting us out. We're worried about you. You weren't worried when I wasn't invited to Sarah's wedding. Oh, for God's sake, are you still hung up on that? It was 2 years ago. Let it go. Let it go. Forgive and forget. Move on. Pretend it didn't matter. It mattered to me. Everything matters to you. You're so sensitive. So dramatic. Sarah made a choice and you've been punishing all of us ever since. I haven't been punishing anyone. I've been living my life. Without your family. You've cut us out completely. You cut me out first. My mother's voice broke. I'm your mother. I gave birth to you. I raised you. And this is how you treat me? Like I'm nothing. The guilt. The manipulation. I'd fallen for it 1,000 times before. Not this time. I treat you with the same energy you've given me. Distance for distance. Indifference for indifference. How dare you? After everything we've done for you. What have you done for me? Tell me. Because from where I'm standing, you gave Jake $250,000 and told me I wasn't worth including in family events. We gave Jake that money because he asked. You never asked. I shouldn't have to beg for equal treatment. You're twisting everything. Making us the villains. We love you. We've always loved you. Then why doesn't it feel like love? She didn't answer. The silence stretched between us like a canyon. Come to dinner, she finally whispered. Please. Let's fix this. I wanted to say no. Wanted to hang up and block their numbers and live my life in peace. But a tiny part of me, the part that still remembered being a little girl who wanted her mother's approval, whispered yes. I'll come. But we're having a real conversation. No more pretending everything is fine. Okay. Saturday at 6. Don't be late. She hung up before I could change my mind. Saturday arrived too quickly. I dressed carefully. Not too casual, not too formal. I wanted to look successful without looking like I was trying too hard. Ridiculous, I know. I was 30 years old and still seeking their validation. The drive to my parents' house felt longer than usual. Every mile, I questioned my decision. Why was I doing this? What did I hope to achieve? I pulled into the driveway at exactly 6 o'clock. Jake's SUV was already there. So was Sarah's car. My stomach dropped. Sarah was here. The cousin who'd excluded me. This wasn't a family dinner. This was an ambush. I sat in my car, debating. I could leave. Should leave. But I'd come this far. I walked to the front door. Before I could knock, my mother opened it. She looked older. Tired. Her hug was brief, perfunctory. Everyone's in the living room. Everyone. Great. I walked in and found them all staring at me. My father in his recliner. Jake and his pregnant wife, Michelle, on the couch. Sarah and her husband, Tom, in the love seat. All eyes on me. The prodigal daughter who dared to be successful without permission. Hi, I said, because what else do you say? A chorus of awkward greetings. Then silence. My father cleared his throat. Sit down. We need to talk. I remained standing. What is this? This is an intervention, Jake said. We're worried about you. An intervention. As if I was an addict. As if success was my disease. Worried about what? About where your money came from, my father said. About what you're involved in. About your refusal to be honest with this family. I've been completely honest. I worked hard. Saved money. Bought property. Renovated it. There's nothing mysterious about it. Show us your bank statements, Jake demanded. Show us proof. Absolutely not. My finances are none of your business. See? Jake looked at our parents. She's hiding something. I'm not hiding anything. I'm setting boundaries. There's a difference. Sarah spoke up for the first time. We just want to make sure you're okay. You've changed so much. I turned to her slowly. I've changed? Really? You excluded me from your wedding and I've changed. She blinked. That was a difficult decision. I was trying to avoid drama. What drama? What did I ever do to you? You were going through a hard time. The breakup with Marcus. Losing your job. I didn't want negative energy at my wedding. I didn't lose my job. I quit to pursue photography. Same thing. It's not the same thing at all. My mother intervened. This isn't about the wedding. This is about your current situation. You have to understand how suspicious this looks. You were struggling 2 years ago, barely making rent. And now you own a property worth $500,000? It doesn't add up. It adds up perfectly if you actually believe I'm capable of success. Don't twist this, my father snapped. We want to believe you. Give us a reason to. I looked around the room. At their skeptical faces. Their judgment. Their inability to simply be happy for me. You want proof? Fine. I had 3 major gallery shows in the past 2 years. My photography has been featured in 6 national publications. I have corporate clients paying me 5 figures per project. I live below my means, saved aggressively, and invested wisely. I got a loan for 30% of the property value and paid the rest in cash. My credit score is excellent. My business is thriving. Is that enough proof? Silence. That's impossible, Jake said. Photography doesn't pay that well. My photography does. You're lying. I'm not lying. I'm successful. I know that's hard for you to accept, but it's true. Michelle, Jake's wife, spoke quietly. Maybe we should just be happy for her. Jake shot her a look. Stay out of this. No, she's right, I said. Why can't you just be happy for me? Why is your first instinct to assume I'm a criminal? Because you've been lying to us for 2 years, my mother said. Pretending you're too busy to visit. Ignoring our calls. Shutting us out. And now you show up with a mansion and expect us to just accept it. It's not a mansion. It's a studio and a small house. And yes, I have been shutting you out. Because you hurt me. Deeply. And instead of apologizing or acknowledging it, you're sitting here accusing me of fraud. We hurt you. My father stood up. You've hurt us. Your mother cries about you constantly. We don't know what we did wrong. We gave you everything. You gave Jake everything. You gave me judgment and exclusion. We gave Jake money because he has a family to support. You're alone. You don't have those responsibilities. There it was. The truth. I was alone, so I didn't matter as much. My life, my dreams, my struggles were less important because I didn't fit their definition of success. Being alone doesn't make me less deserving of support. We would have helped you if you'd asked, my mother said. But you disappeared. How could we help someone who won't talk to us? I disappeared after you told me I'd ruin Sarah's wedding just by existing. I disappeared after you made it clear I was an embarrassment. I didn't shut you out. You pushed me out and now you're mad I learned to live without you. The room fell silent. Sarah looked uncomfortable. Tom stared at his hands. Michelle seemed close to tears. Jake's face was red with anger. My parents looked stunned. That's not fair, my mother whispered. None of this is fair. You want to know where my money came from? It came from pain. From working every single day to prove I was worth something. From building a life so successful you couldn't ignore me anymore. And now that I've done it, now that I've become someone without your help, you can't stand it. Because it means you were wrong about me. We were never wrong about you, my father said, but his voice lacked conviction. You called me a failure. Multiple times. You said I'd never amount to anything. You compared me to Jake constantly. Do you know what that does to a person? Do you have any idea how hard I worked to silence your voices in my head telling me I wasn't good enough? Tears were streaming down my face now. I didn't bother wiping them away. I didn't come here to be interrogated. I came here hoping for an apology. For acknowledgement. For something that resembled love. But I see now that's not going to happen. You'll never be proud of me. Never accept that I succeeded despite you, not because of you. I turned to leave. Wait, Sarah said. I'm sorry. For the wedding. I should have invited you. That was wrong. I looked at her. 2 years later. 2 years of silence. And now, cornered in my parents' living room, she apologizes. Thank you. But it's too late. It's not too late, my mother pleaded. We can fix this. As a family. You're not acting like a family. You're acting like a tribunal. I walked toward the door. Jake stood up, blocking my path. You don't get to walk away again. Not until you explain everything. Move, Jake. Tell us the truth. I have told you the truth. You just don't want to believe it. Because it's unbelievable. You were nobody 2 years ago. Now you're showing off on social media like you're better than us. I posted one photo of my studio. One. I'm not showing off. I'm proud of what I built. You're rubbing it in our faces. Everything we gave me, you did without us. You're trying to make us feel guilty. I don't need to make you feel guilty. You should feel guilty. You abandoned me first. Jake grabbed my arm. Don't talk to me like that. I'm your brother. Let go of me. Not until you. I yanked my arm free. Don't touch me. Ever. My father stepped between us. Both of you calm down. I am calm, I said. I'm also leaving. This was a mistake. I pushed past them and walked out. Behind me, voices erupted. My mother crying. Jake shouting. My father demanding I come back. I got in my car and drove. I didn't cry until I was halfway home. Then I pulled over on a dark country road and sobbed. Great, heaving cries that came from somewhere primal. I cried for the family I'd lost. For the girl I used to be who thought love was unconditional. For the woman I'd become who knew better. My phone rang incessantly. I turned it off. When I finally made it home, the studio lights were on motion sensors. They illuminated as I walked up the path. This place. My sanctuary. My proof that I was enough. I poured a glass of wine and sat on my porch, looking at the stars. Somewhere in the distance, an owl called. The night was cool and clear. Peaceful. My phone buzzed. I'd turned it back on out of habit. A text from Michelle, Jake's wife. I'm sorry about tonight. For what it's worth, I think what you've built is incredible. You should be proud. One person. One single person in my entire family acknowledged my success without suspicion. I texted back, thank you. That means more than you know. Her response came quickly. Jake is threatened by you. He'll never admit it, but he is. Your parents, too. You did something they didn't think was possible. That scares them. Scared. They were scared. Of me. Of my success. Of what it meant about their own choices and judgments. I didn't respond. What was there to say? The next morning, I woke to find my social media had exploded overnight. The design magazine that featured my studio had shared the post. Thousands of new followers. Hundreds of comments. Photographers asking about my work. Potential clients requesting information. An interior designer wanting to collaborate on a book. My success was spilling over. Growing. Becoming undeniable. And somewhere, 2 hours away, my family was still trying to prove it was fake. Let them try. Let them investigate and question and doubt. I had work to do. Over the next few weeks, I threw myself into my projects. A new series on generational trauma. Photographs that captured inherited pain, the weight of expectations, the beauty in breaking free. My phone calls from family tapered off. The occasional text. Silence mostly. Good. I needed space. Needed time to process everything. Then, 3 weeks after the disastrous dinner, my father showed up at my property. I was in the middle of a shoot, photographing a model in the golden hour light. My assistant came running. "There's a man at the gate. Says he's your father. Should I let him in?" I considered saying no, making him leave the way I'd been made to leave emotional spaces my whole life. "Let him in. But stay close." My assistant nodded, understanding. My father walked up the path slowly, taking in the property. The professionally landscaped gardens. The architecture. The reality of what I'd built. He looked smaller than I remembered. Older. Diminished somehow. "This is impressive," he said when he reached me. "Thank you." I came to apologize. I waited. Said nothing. I was wrong. About everything. You really did this. Built this. Without help. Without shortcuts. I couldn't believe it because I didn't think it was possible. Not because of you. Because of me. I never took risks. Never built anything. And here you are, my daughter, doing what I was always too afraid to do. His voice cracked. "I'm proud of you." I should have said that 2 years ago. Hell, I should have said it your entire life. But I'm saying it now. I'm so goddamn proud of you. I felt tears building but refused to let them fall. "Not yet. Why did you give Jake $230,000 and not offer me anything?" He flinched. "Because he asked. And because I thought he needed it more. He has a family. Responsibilities. You were always so independent. I thought you'd figure it out." I did figure it out. But it would have been nice to know you believed in me enough to help. "I know. I'm sorry. If I could go back, I'd do it differently. But you can't go back." "No, I can't. But I can try to move forward. If you'll let me." I looked at my father. Really looked at him. He was just a man. Flawed. Limited. Incapable of seeing beyond his own fears and biases. He wasn't a villain. Just human. "I need time," I said. "A lot of time. What happened at that dinner? That was cruel. Accusing me of fraud. Treating me like a criminal. I can't just forget that." "I understand. Take whatever time you need. I'll wait." He turned to leave, then stopped. "Your mother wants to apologize too. So does Jake. But they're too proud. Too embarrassed. They know they were wrong. They can apologize when they're ready. I'm not chasing them." He nodded. "Fair enough." After he left, I sat on my porch and cried. Not from sadness this time. From release. From finally hearing the words I'd needed my whole life. "I'm proud of you." It shouldn't matter this much. I shouldn't need his validation. But I was human too. And his words had meant something. My assistant came out with tea. "You okay?" "Yeah. I think I am." Family's complicated. The most complicated. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over the property I'd built from nothing. 2 days later, Jake called. "Can I come see you?" I hesitated. "Why?" "To apologize. Face to face." "You deserve that." "Okay. Tomorrow afternoon." He arrived right on time. Michelle was with him, her pregnant belly more pronounced. They walked through the property in silence. I let them look. Let them see. Every corner. Every detail. Every piece of evidence that I'd earned this. Finally, in the gallery space, surrounded by my photographs, Jake spoke. "I was jealous. I am jealous. Mom and Dad gave me money because I couldn't do it on my own. You did this without them. Without anyone. I called you a liar because accepting the truth meant accepting that you're stronger than me. I'd never heard my brother sound so vulnerable. I don't need to be stronger than you, Jake. I'm not competing with you. I know. But I've been competing with you my whole life. Trying to be the better child. The successful one. And then you go and build this and I realize I was measuring success all wrong." Michelle squeezed his hand. "We both were." "I'm sorry," Jake said. "For not defending you at the wedding. For not questioning it. For believing you were the problem. I was wrong. You're not the problem. You never were." I wanted to stay angry. Wanted to hold on to my hurt like armor. But looking at my brother, genuinely remorseful, I felt it loosening. "I appreciate the apology. Can we start over? Not forget everything. But try to build something new. Maybe. Eventually." But Jake, you have to understand. You got $250,000 handed to you. I got accusations and doubt. That's going to take time to get past. I know. I'll wait. However long it takes. After they left, I felt lighter. Not forgiven. Not healed. But less burdened. My mother was the last one to reach out. A month after my father's visit, she showed up unannounced. I was painting the guest house. A new project. A writer's retreat I planned to rent out for supplemental income. Hi, sweetheart. I climbed down from the ladder. Mom. I've been practicing what to say for weeks. But now I'm here and I don't know where to start. Start with the truth. She took a shaky breath. I was threatened by you. Your independence. Your refusal to need me. When you chose photography over a traditional career, I felt like you were rejecting everything I'd taught you. And when Sarah didn't invite you to the wedding, I supported her decision because part of me wanted to punish you for not needing us. Her honesty shocked me into silence. That's ugly to admit. But it's true. I'm your mother. I'm supposed to support you unconditionally. Instead, I let my own insecurities convince me you were making mistakes. That you'd fail and come crawling back. And when you didn't fail, when you succeeded beyond anything I imagined, I couldn't handle it. She was crying now. Mascara running down her cheeks. I told you that you'd ruin Sarah's day. That's the worst thing I've ever said to you. The cruelest. And I've replayed those words 1,000 times, wishing I could take them back. You wouldn't have ruined anything. You never did. I just couldn't admit that I was the one creating problems. I stood there, paint-stained and exhausted, looking at my mother fall apart. Why couldn't you just love me the way I am? I do love you. I always have. But I loved the idea of who I wanted you to be more than I loved who you actually were. And that's my failure. Not yours. Never yours. She stepped closer. This place. What you've built. It's extraordinary. You're extraordinary. I'm sorry I couldn't see it until now. I'm sorry I needed you to prove yourself before I believed in you. That's not how mothers should love their daughters. I felt something crack open in my chest. Years of hurt. Years of feeling inadequate. It all came pouring out. I needed you, I whispered. When Marcus left. When I was scared about quitting my job. When I bought this property and didn't know if I could make it work. I needed my mom and you weren't there. You were with Jake. Always with Jake. I know. God, I know. I can't change that. I can't give you back those years. But I'm here now. If you'll have me. I looked at the woman who gave birth to me. Who raised me. Who wounded me. Who was trying, finally, to make it right. I don't know if I can trust you again. I understand. I don't know if we can ever have the relationship I wanted us to have. I understand that too. But I'm willing to try. Slowly. With boundaries. Her face crumpled with relief. Thank you. Thank you. She didn't try to hug me. Didn't push for more. Just nodded and wiped her tears and looked around at the guest house. Do you need help painting? It was such a simple offer. Such a normal mom thing to say. Yeah, actually I do. We painted in silence for a while. Then she started talking. About her own childhood. Her own mother who'd been critical and cold. The patterns she'd unknowingly repeated. The therapy she'd started. The work she was doing to be better. I listened. Really listened. And for the first time in years, I saw her as a person. Not just my mother. A woman with her own wounds and failures and attempts at growth. By the time the sun set, we'd finished one wall. It wasn't much. But it was a start. Over the next 6 months, my family slowly integrated back into my life. Not the way they'd been before. Something different. More honest. My father came by once a month. We'd walk the property and talk about business, about art, about life. He never tried to give me advice I didn't ask for. Just listened. Just showed up. Jake and Michelle visited regularly. Their baby was born, a girl they named Emma. Jake asked me to be her godmother. I said yes. We were learning to be siblings instead of competitors. My mother and I had weekly phone calls. Sometimes they were hard. Sometimes old patterns emerged and we had to stop, recalibrate, try again. But we kept trying. Sarah reached out with a genuine apology. We met for coffee. She cried. Explained she'd been influenced by family gossip, by my mother's concerns, by her own insecurities about having a non-traditional cousin. We weren't close anymore. Probably never would be. But we were civil. That was enough. My business continued to grow. I hired 2 assistants. Booked out 6 months in advance. Started teaching workshops at the studio. The writer's retreat guest house was constantly occupied. I was making more money than I'd ever imagined. But the success felt different now. Not like proof. Just like life. My life. The one I'd built. One evening, almost 3 years after the wedding that changed everything, my entire family came for dinner. I'd cooked. Set a long table in the gallery space. Hung string lights overhead. We ate and laughed and told stories. Emma babbled in her high chair. Michelle was pregnant again. My father told terrible jokes. My mother showed pictures from her painting class. Jake talked about his new job. Sarah and Tom announced they were moving across the country. It was normal. Beautifully, painfully normal. After dinner, my mother pulled me aside. I framed something for you. A housewarming gift. 3 years late, but still. She handed me a wrapped package. I opened it carefully. Inside was a photo. Me at 5 years old, covered in paint, grinning at the camera. Below it, she'd written, "You were always an artist." I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. I hugged her. Really hugged her. And she held on tight. Thank you, Mom. Thank you for not giving up on us. Even when we gave you every reason to. That night, after everyone left, I sat on my porch with a glass of wine. The property was quiet. Peaceful. Mine. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi. This is Marcus. I heard through mutual friends about your success. I wanted to congratulate you. You always had talent. Glad you finally pursued it. Marcus. My ex-fiancé. The one my mother had used as evidence of my failures. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then deleted it without responding. Some people don't deserve access to your growth. Some bridges should stay burned. I thought about the girl I was 3 years ago. Broken. Excluded. Desperate for approval. She would have responded to Marcus. Would have tried to prove she was doing well. Would have sought validation from anyone offering it. But I wasn't her anymore. I'd learned that success built on other people's approval is hollow. Real success is built on self-acceptance. On knowing your worth regardless of who acknowledges it. My family's recognition was nice. Their apologies meant something. But they weren't what saved me. I saved myself. I built a life from the rubble of my pain. Turned exclusion into motivation. Turned hurt into art. Turned isolation into independence. The wedding invitation I was never sent became the best thing that never happened to me. It forced me to see the truth. To stop waiting for permission to be myself. To stop shrinking to make others comfortable. I pulled up my social media. Posted a photo of the dinner table. The empty plates. The string lights. The evidence of family trying to repair what they'd broken. The caption was simple. 3 years ago, I wasn't invited to a wedding. Tonight, I hosted a dinner for the people who excluded me. Growth isn't linear. Forgiveness isn't easy. But sometimes, the people who hurt you can learn to do better. And sometimes, you're strong enough to let them try. Within minutes, comments poured in. People sharing their own stories of family estrangement. Of exclusion. Of clawing their way to success despite the people who should have supported them. I read them all. Every single one. Because I understood. I'd lived it. One comment stood out. From a young woman who said she'd just been excluded from her sister's wedding and didn't know how to cope. I responded, "You'll survive this. It'll hurt like hell. You'll question everything about yourself. But you'll come out stronger. Use the pain. Build something. Prove to yourself, not them, that you're enough. Because you are. With or without their invitation." She replied immediately, "Thank you. I needed to hear that." I smiled. Closed the app. Looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, another girl was experiencing the same pain I'd felt. The same exclusion. The same spiral of self-doubt. But she'd survive. Just like I did. And maybe, Years from now, she'd sit on her own porch, looking at her own success, and realize the rejection was a gift in disguise. My phone rang. My father. Hey, sweetheart. Just wanted to say thank you for tonight. It meant a lot. To all of us. It meant a lot to me too, Dad. I've been thinking. That money we gave Jake. I want to give you the same amount. It's only fair. I considered it. $230,000. The amount that had symbolized their favoritism. Their lack of faith in me. 3 years ago, I would have taken it. Would have seen it as the validation I craved. Now, I appreciate the offer. But I don't need it. I know you don't need it. But you deserve it. Equally. Dad, I built this without your money. That's important to me. If you'd given it to me 3 years ago, it would have meant everything. But now, I like knowing I did it alone. Silence. Then a soft laugh. You're stronger than all of us combined. You know that? I learned from the best. You taught me that success isn't handed to you. You have to fight for it. I don't think I meant to teach you that lesson quite so harshly. Maybe not. But it's the lesson I needed. After we hung up, I sat in the silence. Feeling complete. Not healed. Not perfect. But whole in a way I'd never been before. The next morning, I woke early. The sunrise painted the studio walls gold and pink. I grabbed my camera and spent an hour capturing the light. The way it illuminated dust particles. The way it transformed ordinary spaces into something magical. This was my life now. This quiet, beautiful, hard-won life. My assistant arrived at 9. Morning. We have the corporate shoot at 11. The couple's session at 3. And someone called about booking the retreat for a month-long residency. A month? That's huge. I know. She's a novelist. Working on her second book. Said she found your place through the design magazine, and it's exactly what she needs. Business was good. Better than good. Thriving. But more than that, I was good. Better than good. Thriving. At 10, a delivery truck arrived. Large package. I signed for it, confused. Inside was a painting. Abstract. Beautiful. Chaotic splashes of color that somehow made sense together. The card read, "From Mom." I painted this in therapy. My therapist said I should give it to someone I've hurt and tried to make amends with. You're the first person I thought of. The painting is called Learning to See. Because I'm finally learning to see you clearly. Love, Mom. I hung it in the gallery. Right in the center. Where everyone could see it. My story didn't have a tidy ending. Families are messy. Healing is messy. Forgiveness is complicated and ongoing, and sometimes you take steps backward before you move forward again. But I was okay with messy now. Because perfection is a cage. Imperfection is freedom. That afternoon, during the couple's photography session, the woman asked me a question. How did you build all this? It's incredible. I thought about her question. Really thought about it. I was excluded from something important. It broke me. And then I rebuilt myself from the broken pieces. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the catalyst for the best thing you ever do. She nodded, understanding in her eyes. I was fired from my dream job last year. Devastated me. But it forced me to start my own company. Which is how I met him. She gestured to her fiancé. Funny how rejection redirects you to where you're supposed to be. Exactly. After they left, I walked through the property. The studio. The gallery. The guest house. The gardens. Every inch of this place held my sweat, my tears, my determination. I'd built a sanctuary for my pain. And now it was becoming a sanctuary for others. The writers who stayed in the retreat. The couples who got engaged on the grounds. The photography students who took my workshops. The family members who were learning to see me differently. My phone buzzed. A text from Jake. Emma said Auntie today. Her first 2-syllable word. She was looking at your photo. Thought you should know. I smiled. Typed back, that's amazing. Tell her Auntie loves her. His response, will do. Also, I'm telling everyone about your work. Referred 3 potential clients your way this week. Hope that's okay. More than okay. Thank you. It's the least I can do. Literally the least. I laughed out loud. Jake's guilt was manifesting as aggressive promotion of my business. I'd take it. Evening fell. I made dinner. Ate alone, but not lonely. There's a difference. My inbox had 17 new inquiries. A magazine wanted to feature my work. A gallery in New York wanted a showing. A bride wanted to book me for her destination wedding in Italy. I responded to each one professionally, gratefully, confidently. Then I opened my journal. I'd been documenting this journey. The pain. The growth. The reconciliation. Maybe someday it would become a book. Maybe not. But writing it helped me process. Today's entry. 3 years ago, I wasn't invited to a wedding. Today, I'm being invited everywhere. But the real victory isn't the invitations. It's that I no longer need them to feel valuable. I spent so long waiting for permission to be myself. Permission to succeed. Permission to matter. I don't wait anymore. I give myself permission. And that's the most powerful thing I've ever learned. I closed the journal. Turned off the lights. Walked outside one more time. The property was dark except for the security lights. The stars were brilliant. The air was cool. Perfect. I'd come so far from that girl crying in her car, holding a wedding invitation with everyone's name but hers. She'd be proud of me. The girl I used to be. She'd be so proud of what we became. We made it, I whispered to the night. To her. To myself. We actually made it. And somewhere in the darkness, I swear I heard an answer. Not words. Just a feeling. A knowing. We did. Against every odd. Despite every obstacle. Without the support we deserved. We made it. And we did it beautifully. I went inside. Locked the door. Climbed into bed in the house I built. Under the roof I paid for. In the life I created. The last thought before sleep was simple, profound. I am enough. I always was. I just needed to stop looking for other people to tell me so. The wedding invitation I never received led me here. To this moment. This peace. This success. Best rejection I ever experienced. And if I could go back, if I could change it, make them invite me, include me, validate me from the start, I wouldn't. Because that path wouldn't have led me here. To this version of myself. The one who knows her worth. Who built something meaningful. Who learned that the only approval that matters is the one you give yourself. 3 years ago, they said I'd ruin the day. They were wrong. I didn't ruin anything. I rebuilt everything.